Welcome back to the FreeMelon Society, my lovely FreeMelons. I'm Martyr. Really appreciate you being here. Today we're going to share a protocol that I've been implementing in my life that I would love to share with you. Okay, something that I've been consistently experimenting with and playing with, and I want to let you in on what that is. It's a protocol that will help you cultivate a type of very, very high potent energy in your body. A deep type of potent energy that when I experience what it feels like, the first term that pops into my mind when I feel like that is the God force. It feels like some sort of really intense, potent energy is now suffusing through my entire body and igniting a flavor of vitality that is harder to come by doing the regular routine of conventional life. So anyway, we're going to get into what that is, how to cultivate this God force feeling inside of you. That's not a scientific term. I'm not saying that miracles and magic are going to happen, but all that's happening is I'm applying a set of vitality cultivating behaviors and putting them into a simple 3-day routine that you can do, that I've put into practice and have experienced some really powerful things with, and I'd just like to share that with you for your consideration. Okay, so let's jump back into the secret classroom and we'll get started. And right before we do, I just want to say I really appreciate your participation in this conceptual esoteric school that we have going on in this channel. I really appreciate it. You know, this type of lifestyle that we're talking about here, again, it's not for everybody, right? And that there are very mature and responsible minds that are participating in this with me. I can't tell you how that makes me feel. Well, actually, I can. It's great. I love it. So anyway, much love to you guys. Let's jump back into the secret classroom and we'll get started. Okay, so everybody's familiar with intermittent fasting already, alright? So I don't need to go through that much. You already know the deal. Just jump onto Google, type in intermittent fasting. You're going to find all sorts of stuff, okay? So what we're talking about today is a 3-day cleanse. I'm hesitant to use the word cleanse. I don't even know if I want to use that word. It's a protocol, right? Because I suppose that in time, this stops turning into a cleanse and it starts to characterize more and more of your regular normal days. So we'll just call it a cleanse for now, okay? 3-day cleanse. Forgive me, I don't know exactly how I'd want to categorize this, but we'll call it a cleanse for now. So all that's happening in this 3-day cleanse is something very similar to a concept that's already out there. There's a popular book called The Warrior Diet, and essentially, if I just had to be really general and brief about this, essentially the Warrior Diet is a style of intermittent fasting where you eat for a very short window of time in the day for only 4 hours. You've got a 4-hour window to eat all the food that you're going to eat in that day, and then the rest of the time you fast. So for 20 hours, okay, in a given day, you're not eating, and then for 4 hours you are eating. That's essentially the Warrior Diet, alright? And there are far less restrictions on the Warrior Diet. That 4-hour eating window, that can be at any time in the day, really. Typically it's in the evening time. It's a dinner time thing. And what you can eat is opened up to all sorts of, dietary immature silliness, right? Now, of course, because we're in the secret classroom here and we're talking about a much higher and refined and more mature and responsible diet than the conventional riffraff that people consider food, we are going to take this to the next level and inspire from our bodies a deeper level of health and cleanliness. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to start with what we know, okay? What we know about some of the what we know about how vitality works in our body, okay? So for one thing, we know that it's the body that heals. Okay? It's not food necessarily that heals. It's the body that heals. All right? Your body intelligence is responsible for all of the wonderful things that happen. The food is just the material, the building material. Yeah, essentially that's how, it's the raw material that your body intelligence uses and manipulates and fashions and uses to modify structures in your body, repair tissue, all that stuff. Okay, but it's the intelligence, it's the architect, the inner intelligent architect that is actually doing all the work. Okay, so it's your body that heals you, not the food itself. We also know that the more excess vital force that you have in reserve, okay, in addition to what your body needs day to day to run all the metabolic machinery, the excess vital force that you can cultivate by your practices, by virtue of your practices, the more of that you have in reserve, the more your body can allocate that excess reserve of vital force into healing. Okay? So, if you get a very good night's sleep, you'll have a lot more energy reserved in the tank, and you'll have more available to do some healing work. Okay? And there are lots of practices that help you save energy, and the more you do that, the better the healing. A while ago on this channel, we talked about the element that is common to all diets that actually work and do some internal cleansing. The common denominator is how closely they approximate a fast, right? So we have a fast on one end and complete indulgence on the other. It's a spectrum. And then the closer you get to the complete fasted state, the deeper the healing. And the reason that there's deeper healing closer to a fast is because you're conserving energy, right? That's it. So that's the other principle that we know for sure about vitality and how it works. What's another thing we know? Another thing we know is that digestion is the most expensive metabolic process that your body undergoes. Okay? So the more that we can make digestion easier, the more energy we will save. Okay? And that translates to better healing down the road. What else do we know? We also know that the body has stronger digestive power in the late morning and early afternoon. Your body has less digestive power later in the evening, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So meaning that the same meal will be better digested, more efficiently digested and absorbed, right, and used if you eat that meal in the later morning. Okay, early afternoon, it will be better digested then than if you eat it later on in the evening. Okay, this is another principle that we know. And we can say lastly, we know that eating late impairs the quality of your sleep. Sleep is quite important, all right? You don't get enough sleep, you die. So we know that if you eat too late in the evening, that meal will, be sitting in your system while your body's trying to sleep, and it will disturb and impair the quality of your sleep. Go to bed on a completely empty stomach, and now you have better quality sleep because you're not wasting energy digesting food, right? Okay, so those are a whole bunch of things that we know about how vitality works in the body. Okay, let's get back to this 3-day cleanse now. So what are we doing with this cleanse? All we're doing is we're modifying the warrior style diet that we already know about, all right? Not reinventing the wheel here. So I just ran through a whole bunch of things that we already know now that improve vitality, all right? That help you conserve energy. So all that's happening now with this particular 3-day cleanse is I'm just applying all of them, as many of them as I can simultaneously, and doing it for 3 days, all right? I mean, or longer, but the thing is, this is designed to be just getting your feet wet, all right? It's a short bout of exercise. That's what this is, okay? So what I'm doing with this, the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because I'd like to give you, first of all, I'm implementing this in my life and feeling what this feels like. The feeling is too sensational for me not to talk to you about it. Right? I need other people to feel what this feels like when you do it, right? It's, again, I'm calling this the God Force for a reason. It's why I've designed the thumbnail as it is, because I'm trying to express what it feels like. So all we're doing, we've got all of these ways to cultivate energy, and we're just doing them, as many of them as possible, in 3 days. And what happens when you do that is you end up conserving and cultivating such a huge repository of energy that you feel like you are literally buzzing. If you're in need of any healing, if you've got joint pains at all, you've got any kind of indigestion, whatever it is, your best shot of healing any ailment is going to be cultivating a repository, an excess abundance of vital force, of vital energy. That's it. That's your only option. All things that heal your body are just manipulating conditions so that your body has an easier time doing its work. That's it. Right? It's the only way that healing works. It's because it's your body doing the work, right? It's your body that's the architect of the whole process. So when we do this protocol, what happens is that there's enough of a vital reserve such that you can do a lot of internal metabolic work. All right. It's also a fantastic way to rekindle and reconnect a possibly lost connection between your mind and your body. So if you're dealing with addictions, any kind of food hang-ups, this is a good way to reconnect with what your body actually wants. All right. But we'll get into that. Okay, so basically the protocol looks like this, okay? In order to cultivate this feeling of high potency, high vibrational energy, then what we're going to do is we're going to, like the warrior diet, we're going to have a tight eating window, okay? 3 to 4 hours tops. That is, you're only allowed to spend 3 to 4 hours eating, all right, during the day. But that 3 to 4 hours of eating, it's got to take place in the late morning or early afternoon, around that time slot. It's got to be very, very, very early in the day. The reason it's going to be very early in the day is because we want a very lengthy amount of time to elapse before you go to bed, so that you almost start to feel hungry or peckish before bed, and then you go to sleep in that state. And after your first night of doing that, that's when the magic starts to happen. You wake up the next morning, you're going to feel like $1 million. And then you do that for the next 2 days. So we have a very tight eating window. And you're only allowed to be eating max from 10 o'clock till 3 o'clock, right? It's between those hours, between the hours of 10 and 3 o'clock, that you must implement your 3 or 4 hour eating window. So if I start eating at 10 o'clock, for example, then my eating window ends at 2. All right. 4 hours maximum. And the last main element of this cleanse is what you can eat. You are only allowed to eat fruit. It's got to be just fruit only, right? Simple fruit. I don't care if it's mono meals or mixed meals. Well, that who cares? Whatever you want, all right? But it has to be fruit, preferably high water content fruit. Okay? You won't be eating any overt fats or overt concentrated fats. Okay? Not even whole concentrated fats. Not for the purpose of this cleanse. Again, I'm not saying this has to be a lifestyle. This is just a cleansing challenge, right? Just like a nice bout of activity that you do only for a little bit, and then you can come back to your regular routine afterwards. So for this temporary cleanse, yes, there are no overt fats, right? No avocado, nuts or seeds, olives, any of that. Absolutely no oils, okay? Definitely not. There are also no landmines. If you haven't seen my video on drugs and landmines, please go ahead and watch that. That's a very important lecture that I wouldn't want you to miss. So check that out and you'll know what I mean when I say landmines. But basically all of the ridiculous infractions and offenses to bodily economy. Okay, that's it. Those are the main items on this cleanse. All right. Tight eating window. You're only allowed to eat from 10 to 3 max. And within that time frame, your eating window is got to be 3 to 4 hours, but no more than 3 to 4 hours. That's it. So from the time you start eating, you got 3. If you want to push it to 4, fine. 4 hours to finish off everything you're going to be eating for the day. And then that's it. You got to call it quits by max 3 o'clock. So if you start eating at 2, you probably want to be finished by 3, right? And again, for these 3 days, try to be disciplined on that, because you want that extra lengthy time from the time you finish eating to the time you go to bed, because that's when the magic is happening, to give you an incredible quality sleep that night. And then waking up the next morning, you've gotten the wheels in motion, and then you do it again the next day, and then you do it again the next day. Okay? Other elements that you can incorporate to this little protocol: be very hydrated, drink plenty of fluids throughout the day when you're not in your eating window. So you can drink water throughout the day. All right? That's a good thing to do. Also, go to bed early. All right? Go to bed early, nice and early, if possible. If possible. This might not be possible, right? You have to put the kids to bed and all that, right? So whatever you can do, whatever you can manage, then do it. But if possible, then that's just another thing to add to that criteria of energy saving, energy cultivating practices, right? You're trying to do as many of them as possible. As for the things that you were not allowed to do, then I think we kind of already mentioned them, right? No overt fats of any kind, right? No processed foods, no landmine foods whatsoever, no meats and dairies. And the warrior diet, for example, you could eat all of that, right? And the reason, I'll tell you why I'm going into this. The reason that people, when they're doing omad style diets, the reason that we tend to feel that we need to incorporate just a massive amount of all sorts of varieties of flavors that satisfy every single nutritional criteria and category out there. All manner of edible food-like substances. They all have to come in. We have that nutrition mindset, okay? And we're a bit hamstrung and plagued by this nutritional obsession. No, I can't say that, no. I'll get eaten alive for making a statement like that. People will think I'm saying nutrition is not important. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is that, put it this way. You have the ability to fast, okay, with no food at all. Who knows how long? 30 days, 40 days, okay? And should a person do that, what happens is a fantastically deep level of physical and spiritual cleansing, such that they emerge a new human being on the other side of that cleanse. So, if that's the case, then in this particular protocol, we're not even fasting, right? You're still eating every day. Every day, you're still eating. So do we think that Mother Nature has designed you in such a way, in such a callous, irresponsible way, that she didn't plan on the contingency, on the exigency, that you might not be getting a vast sea of nutritional data coming into the system every single day? No, she provided for that possibility. All right. You are not going to break down. You cannot be trapped in the nutrition mindset, the scientific reductionist nutrition mindset while you're doing this. You cannot be thinking, oh, I need my essential oils and my flax seeds. I need these things. Oh, but what about my proteins? I need you forget all of that. You leave that out the door. If you worry about these things, then fine, worry about them, but not on this protocol. This protocol is just relax and zen out. Your body is in complete control. There is nothing to worry about nutritionally. You're not going to waste away. You're not going to do any of that. You might lose weight. Yeah. But that's not wasting away. Not on a short 3-day cleanse when you're eating, right? You're not even fasting. So nutritional hang-ups and any conceptual nutritional whatever, throw that away for the time being. All right? You can worry about it later if you're the type of person that worries about that stuff. The very last thing we'll talk about here, why would you want to do this? What happens? So I started describing it a bit earlier. What starts to happen is, like we went into, you cultivate a huge abundance of energy because we're doing all of these things that save your body metabolic expenditure, right? That save your body from having to expend energy. We're just doing all of them now in 3 days, just applying all of these behaviors that help to cultivate energy. So when that happens, why you'd want to do this is because we know that when you have a reserve, a good reserve of energy, healing can be a bit more profound because now your body has an excess vital reserve to draw upon to do things in your body. Now, what that feels like when you do it, the very first time I played around with this, it was such a noticeable shift between whatever style of eating I had in the days prior to doing this, raw fruits in my case, more than likely. But after day one of doing this protocol that I'm talking to you about now, there's such a noticeable difference in how you feel. It's a type of buzzing. It's a buzzing. Like you start to feel like, it feels like there is a different energy, so a deeper, richer, more powerful, and more fine and subtle energy force that is powering your body. That's just what it feels like, okay? So if you feel yourself rolling your eyes and like, oh, this guy's going all mystical, I'm not, right? I'm just trying to put into words what the internal feeling is like, right? And it really does feel like you are buzzing with energy. And in that state, this state that I'm calling the God Force, when the God Force starts to flow through you, it's very noticeable. Particularly if you have, so let's say in your eating window, you don't eat so that your belly is exploding. You don't necessarily want to do that, okay? One of the other key things that you could do if you want to really make this cleanse extremely effective, don't eat to complete satiety, all right? Yeah, satisfy yourself, obviously satisfy yourself, all right? But if you eliminate that mindset of, I've got to eat a ton because I only have a short amount of time to do it, ignore that. If you eat and you don't get completely gut-wrenchingly, gut-burstingly satiated, okay, and you still have that feeling like, I could still pack some stuff down. Stop for a second and just wait. Just wait. Do something else, okay? Do something else. Force yourself to do something else. Go outside, take out the garbage, do whatever. Do something. And you'll notice that will slowly start to dissipate. And because you're not dealing with as much food, in addition to all the energy that you saved the day before, in the hours after a fairly light-ish meal, right? So you have a light-ish meal for your eating window now. As the evening rolls on, later afternoon rolls on, you're in your non-eating window now, you are going to start to feel so unbelievably good. And if you try this, you'll know what I'm talking about. When I put it into practice, it's as if there's some force supporting you behind your back, just blowing winds of vitality into every cell in your body. Just you're humming. I don't know if I should use the word humming. There's a little bit of a sexual connotation with humming, so I wouldn't say that I'm getting a divine hummer. It might sound really, really weird. But however we want to describe it, yeah, that's what it feels like. And if we're correct about how your body heals by cultivating more energy in reserve, okay, if we're correct about that, and we are, then in that state, when you get into that state, deep levels of healing are going to be happening, right? Because that's what your body needs in order to do work. So again, like I was saying, joint pains, muscle soreness, irritations, inflammations, all of these things. If you have anything like that, then this would be a really, really good one to experiment with. It's only a 3-day thing, and then you can go back to whatever version of a diet that you're on. Who is this tailored to? The people that have really started to take their diet life to the next level of maturity and responsibility, okay? So if you've already had a bit of experience under your belt, then this is probably more geared towards you. I don't know if the beginner is going to be as comfortable doing something like this. For beginners, you might want to have a little bit more leniency with how wide your eating windows are. You might be a little bit more lenient on what you eat, okay? But for the people that have already done a good deal of cleansing, the cleansing veterans out there, then yeah, stick to this protocol as I've outlined it here. And I'd love to hear your feedback as to how you felt, okay, and how this worked for you. There's a lot that I could go into and talk about in terms of what you feel like during this type of protocol. Like I'd love to describe more. The evenings, like going to bed in the evening, okay, for example, going to bed in the evening, that turns into a different experience. You go to bed in this state of just such unbelievable calm. There's no sensations going on in your body, in your stomach. Nothing going on there. It feels like the emptiness of space, right? No sensation. And it leaves you in this kind of light, this very, very light, connected state. There are lots of ways that this energy cultivation will express itself for you. Maybe it's detox symptoms. If that happens, great. If not, then great as well. So if you guys give this a shot, yeah, I'd love to hear what you experience. My experiences have been very, 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 very wonderful putting this into practice. And it's been characterizing a lot more of my days than it was in previous years. So anyway, that's it for now, guys. All right. I really appreciate your time and attention in the secret classroom today. If you like this type of content, then make sure to subscribe to the FreeMelon Society. And yeah, we've got more coming up on the channel. So we'll chat again very soon. I love you very much, guys. Mwah! And we'll see you next time here on the FreeMelon Society. Okay? Take care. I should have talked about tuning into your body when you're lying down in the evening. Yeah, there's a lot you could talk about with this one, but that's okay. Getting a divine Hummer. Oh my god. A spiritual rim job. Okay, alright, that's ridiculous.